So today I thought I'd walk through the centerpiece of my studio here now, which is this Midas M32 console. And I've had a bunch of different configurations and a bunch of different things that I've used as my centerpiece of my studio, interfaces, variety of different ones, which I still have different interfaces, but I've really went to this as kind of the centerpiece for a lot of different reasons. So I thought I'd walk through some of those reasons and kind of the uniqueness of what this board does. So my original thought was, hey, I'd like to have a live board. I've had several. I had a Studio Live was the last one I had. I had one of the Behringer X32 racks. I had a Yamaha LS9. So having a digital live console is something that I've found very helpful. If just some situation where I needed a live console and be able to have something that, you know, really easy to use and a digital console with lots of processing in it. So this, I thought, well, interesting. This can act as an interface. It's got the Midas pre's. It's got the Midas faders. It's beautiful looking console. It's really nice. Same operating system as the Behringer X32, but clearly a very different look and a very different type of console. And again, the preamps, the faders are completely different. They're the Midas Pro series, same as the Pro series consoles, not the same as the X32. And so I thought, well, that would be a great centerpiece. Because the other thing this one does that's very unique, in addition to being a live console, it also acts as a control surface and, of course, an interface. So it does 32, actually I think it's 40 by 40, 40 by 32 or 32 by 32, a bunch of channels back and forth on USB. And again, all that's routable, kind of however you want to route it. And you can do up to 40 channels you can mix on it, even though it has 16 inputs. You can add a digital snake to it to get the additional inputs. So kind of the overview, I will walk through that and then some of the unique things. And as you see, I have Pro Tools up here, and I'm going to show you how I'm using it in that context. So you have 2 banks of 8, and you have your master fader, so 17 faders on this console. So basically, you can organize it any way you want. You can have kind of the default setting is your inputs on this side, your 8 faders of inputs, and your subgroups over here on the other side. So I've got DCAs 1 through 8, I've got buses 1 through 8, 9 through 16, and then I have matrices, of which there are 6 of those on there. All right, that's kind of the basic layout. On this side, then, you'd have your inputs, 1 through 8, 9 through 16, 17 through 24, 25 through 32, your 8 aux-ins, and then you have your buses that you can assign, your bus masters that you can put over here. All right? So you have that option on both sides. The other thing you can do is, let's say you have 16 live inputs. You can press 1 and 8 and 9 through 16. Now I have 1 through 16 all the way across the board. Really cool. Or I can do whatever combination I want. Let's say I have 17 through 24 on the drums, and I've got everything else on DCAs. So I can go 17 through 24 over here, DCA 1 through 8 over here. Or I want to do my buses there. Or I want to do 1 through 8 over there. I can switch it around any way I want. All right? So great from a live board sort of approach. Now let's say we take it into the recording situation. All right? So 2 things. One is I can push this button, and now I have DAW remote. All right? So now these faders, you probably can't see it, but these are my faders for Pro Tools. So right now I'm playing with the kick drum fader, pulling it up and down. All right? If I hit play, which I have this set up, these assign buttons are set up as different controls for my DAW control. And there's a whole page that you can go in and assign a bunch of stuff. I have transport, stop, play, rewind, fast forward. I have bank by groups of 8, and I have bank by individual channels. So I have those set up on here, ready to roll. So if I hit play, now I've got the mix coming in. All right, and so that's playing, and now I have control over it over here. So I can mute, I can solo, you know, I could do all of those things right here on the console. Now, check out a very interesting part of that. And this, to me, I think is one of the most unique aspects of this console. Is so I have that DAW control happening over here, but check it out. I have live inputs over here, right? So the classic great example would be, so like right there, the DAW was coming back as a stereo channel to my board. I can assign it wherever I want on the input channels. But let's say I've got a drummer who's playing along with pre-recorded tracks in Pro Tools. So I can set up a mix on the live inputs. I can use all the processing for the console. So I can have gates, compressions, EQ, everything, reverb, whatever. Set up whatever he wants on the drums, totally independent of what's happening in Pro Tools in my DAW. Route that everything, processing-wise, into Pro Tools. But then also, I can adjust the Pro Tools mix simultaneously because I have that over here. I have all the faders for Pro Tools right here. So I can create a mix and make adjustments on that mix as to what's playing from Pro Tools right here on the same console as I'm dealing with my live inputs, all right? A lot of times why guys like consoles, now, of course, big studios that have spent lots and lots of money on consoles, they're going to continue to use them. And they've got, you know, great pre's, EQ, all the processing, so guys use them. But one of the big advantages from a computer recording standpoint of workflow of a console is monitoring. Now, most interfaces allow you the ability to set up headphone mixes, to do direct monitoring, all of those kinds of things. Usually it's a separate piece of software that you have to utilize for that. Totally functional, works great. You know, I have a UA piece, I have the Waves DigiGrid, which has the separate mixer, and again, all that works just fine. With this, it eliminates that completely because I can do it all right here. And again, completely independent of what's happening in the DAW. So I can set up a mix, I can set up processing, I can give a vocalist reverb, delay, whatever I want to give them. Again, I can mix it however I want later, but I can give them that stuff on the front end. Just when I'm doing my own stuff. You know, so many times I'll just plug in a microphone at the keyboard, I'll run it through here, I got reverb and delay on, and I'll just have a party. I can record it at the same time, and I've got good dry tracks then in the computer, but I've got all the stuff, and it's just much better experience when you're actually performing, whether you're tracking or whether you're just singing, you know, and actually just doing that. It's just a lot better when you have some processing on the front end. It makes it a lot nicer. And again, totally doable with a computer-based recording system, but just not as easy. I mean, this is just easier to do it. So I think this is a great console. I've been very, very pleased with it. Again, super sturdy and rugged. I mean, it's solid. Having the DAW control is great. Super simple to set up. I mean, literally, you push that button. It says DAW remote. It turns it on. The other thing that's cool, which I didn't mention, is this board and the X32s have the scribble strip. Huge, 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 huge deal. So it shows me the names of every channel. So anything I've got labeled in Pro Tools, it just pops up. Now, if I'm banking, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm banking by channel right now. And so it lights up different inside of Pro Tools. It shows me what channels I'm banking through. Now, I can bank through 8s as well, but again, it's telling me, more importantly, it's a heck of a lot easier to look here and say, oh, that's the kick drum. Let me listen to the kick drum. And it's right there on the console, all right? So now, just another little twist, and occasionally I will do this with this console. There's been several mixes that I've done where I will run everything out on individual channels, and I will bring it back to the console via USB as a mix. So I'll bring as live inputs, basically. So for example, like this, I've got, I don't know how many tracks I've got on here. Quite a few, 24, 25. So I would take 24 inputs of 1 through 24 and basically assign each channel to a physical output. So kick drum would be 1, and so snare drum 2, et cetera, et cetera. So then those come back into the board, and then I can utilize all the processing on the board and not use plugins at all. Put everything at Unity in Pro Tools, and then mix it on the console. And in fact, I've done a couple videos where I did do that, where that whole mix videos, everything was done on the console. It wasn't done with plugins. And so, again, it's not a right or wrong. I have more plugins and more options with plugins than I do on the console, but there is something nice about physically doing a mix on the console. So anyway, this is the Midas M32R, which is the smaller version. They make a 32 channel as well. Obviously, that wouldn't fit on my desk very well, but really like it a lot, and hopefully you got something from this. If you have any questions about it, I'm always willing to chat about it and help out in whatever way I can. All right, thanks for watching.